Hello everyone. Today I want to share with you my opinion about how to use AI wisely. Now, when we talk about AI, we are talking about generative AI like that naturally. I mean generally, right? Because generative AI is the AI that is mostly used by a lot of people, including students, right, and including lecturers as well. So this message is mainly for students because I believe that you will use generative AI to do your assignment, right? To actually help you in doing your assignment. But how to actually use it wisely? This is what I want to advise you. Now, generative AI, they can generate new ideas. Definitely, that's why they are called generative AI. But when they generate new ideas, especially if you need the ideas, or if you need information from somewhere else, or if you need the citation from somewhere else, you may need to verify the source, right? Quoted in the message or in the idea that is generated by the AI. You may need to do verification, or you need to find out whether it is true. You need to find out the information given to you whether it is applicable to your assignment. So you cannot just give your assignment to generative AI and then they generate the answer for you, and then you straight away copy the whole answer and then treat it as your assignment. You cannot do like this, right? You got to verify the information given by generative AI, even though generative AI is getting more and more improved nowadays, but you still need to verify the information, and you have to check whether it is really telling you something related to your assignment. Right? So that's the first thing. You have to verify the truthfulness of the information given to you by generative AI. The second thing is, as per my experience, generative AI, when it comes to generating answer to you, the answer written can be quite simplified. Yeah, simplified. What does it mean? Now, of course, generative AI can go for critical thinking, definitely, right? But then sometimes when they write answer, they don't really show the critical thinking process in the answer. Where some assignment, they will require you to show that, especially for higher level assignment. So you may want to read, at least you have to read the answer generated by generative AI to make sure you really answer to the requirement, especially when it comes to critical thinking part, right? So like for example, to answer a certain requirement or to answer a certain assignment, you have a lot of points that you can use. But which points will be better than others? Which one will be more applicable than others? This one you have to make a choice, right? Of course, you can ask generative AI this, but you got to think what the answer is given to you. It means you still got to go through the thinking process by analyzing whether the answer is appropriate for you to actually use it in your assignment. So the answer actually show the critical thinking that your assignment needs, or did the answer provide you the application to the case study, right? So you got to look at it in details. You have to think about the answer given by generative AI, right? Now the third thing that I would like to share with you is generative AI is quite useful. I think it's by far the most useful to proofread to proofread your assignment. That is true. That is true. So you can use generative AI to proofread your assignment so that it will save some of your tedious tasks that you have to correct all these things for your group mates, for example. This is what we have been doing last time when we study, right? But then now generative AI will be able to do it for you, right? And generative AI is also very innovative because they can generate new things. But being innovative, you have to think about whether the innovations suits your level of study or suits the theme of the assignment, right? So you got to filter all this, right? And ultimately, as a conclusion, when you use generative AI, you need to re-look or reread all the answers which is given to you and to rethink whether the answer really answer to the requirements in your assignment, right? The last part I would like to say, which generative AI is better, right? I would, of course, I have my own opinion. I also heard about some other people, talking about different opinions and so on. But a conclusion that I would like to give is there is no generative AI, there is no one generative AI better than the other. That is what I made as a conclusion. Why is that so? Is because in my experience, each generative AI is strong at a certain part. So you may want to use your generative AI in a complementary way. Like for example, you don't rely too much on only one generative AI. So I give you some of my experience, but of course I'm not expert now. I would like to just highlight that I'm not expert. I just want to tell students how to use it only. So the first one is ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is very good in having conversation with you. ChatGPT so far can understand, the conversation that you want to tell ChatGPT, which I don't really see the conversation to be such natural in other generative AI, right? But if you like to do some search, like for example, you want to ask a questions that you may need the AI to do searching, then maybe you may want to look at Perplexity, or you may want to look at Google Gemini, right? But Google Gemini, in my experience, right, the answer can be quite long-winded, right? Long-winded. They will answer in a very extended way, unless you ask Google Gemini to actually trim the answer, right? So that's my experience. And then for DeepSeek, I don't use it. For DeepSeek, I don't use, because DeepSeek is, to me, it's too creative, I would say. It's too creative. And so sometimes the answer that they give, right, is not so practical. Yeah, so that is what I have gotten from my experience. Again, I'm not expert. The purpose of making this video is just to tell students to use generative AI wisely and in a way that you still have to process what is given to you and to make sure it actually fulfills, what your assignment wants. So all the best to you.